Soundararajan is a known case of chronic liver disease, ethanol induced. He came with the episode of massive hematemesis, for which an endoscopy was done few weeks ago. There he found to have grade 3 esophageal varices, for which we did a banding. And he also had a deep jaundice. Now with all the treatment, now the jaundice has regressed. He stopped taking alcohol. Now our job is today to see how things are inside, whether he has any residual varices, persisting varices. And if the varices are significantly large in size and have a potential for rebleed, then we will consider another sitting of banding. Because banding has to be done in various stages. Some people require one sitting, some people even 2 or 3 sittings. So this is what we are going to assess. So first is a surveillance endoscopy. We are going to survey. So patient is already sedated. In all these patients who require banding, we need to give them ondansetron. Okay, like all other patients, as you can see, look at my stance. I'm comfortably standing right into the patient. Patient has a left lateral position. My hands, the buttons, as you can see, the superior button on suction, inferior button on the insufflation, and the big wheels controlled by my thumb. I'm putting the endoscopy tip right over the patient's tongue. Can enter, then you have a glimpse of epiglottis, go in the postcricoid region. Then as you can see here, and you are seeing the esophagus. And the esophagus, what you see, there are some varices. Okay, 1, 2, and small column there. At least 2 columns are seen. They need banding. This is a typical grade 3 bands. I'll tell you grade 1, 2 and 3 in a minute, but they are called columns of varices. And inside the varices you can see, some areas they are a little darker blue in color. The whole thing is, but somewhere that is called red veil sign. That is when you have column of vein, that is a varices. But in the column you carefully see, even the mucosa, there is a small bluish discoloration with the little dots. That is the skin of a veil. That is a veil sign. That is a sign of inframucosal varices. They have a high propensity for bleeding. Especially the one here is having a red veil sign. Then this is the OG junction. I just enter the stomach and go into the stomach. Now I will do what I do. I will do a little torque and then go in, go in, go in, then enter the pylorus. Some occasional patients will have ectopic duodenal varices. We are looking at the D1 and D2, and you are able to appreciate the ampulla here. It is seen there at the medial wall around 11 o'clock position there, and there is no varices. Duodenum looks normal. There is no other cause for bleeding, and antrum looks normal. I am looking at the fundus and body, and you can see some amount of blood clots are there, but there is no fundal varices. They are all normal rugal folds. Okay, I am doing what we call a J maneuver. The big wheel completely down. Okay, and the scope is like a hockey stick, looking at the roof. Okay, and it looks quite normal, but for a small amount of blood there, and there is no fundal varices, then if you carefully see the mucosa, you can see it's like a pavement, edematous mucosa. See carefully, if you see, they're all like a pavements like this. Okay, give some water, hold on, go, some more water. So what I am trying to do, trying to demonstrate to you that sometimes the crocodile skin or thickened skin appearance are better appreciated underwater. This is the underwater examination. If you underwater, you are able to appreciate the gout stoning and a little redness there. So all edematous mucosa. This is early congestive gastropathy. It is not gastritis. If you are going to take biopsy, it will bleed. So try to not to take biopsy in a patient already having a coagulopathy, like in this case. So here definitely a residual varices grade 3. So I will suck all the fluid. The most important thing when I do a diagnostic endoscopy is after documenting all the findings, suck all the fluid. Because when I do the banding, and the patient can vomit. Okay, so I will do what is a decompression of the whole stomach like this. Suck all the fluid if possible. Like this, carefully suck. Don't cause suction-induced bleeding also. You have to be very, very careful. Not too aggressive suction, gentle intermittent suction. Take as much as fluid as possible. Then this is very typical. So look at the site, and it is around 38 centimeters. So we know where exactly to band. Band here, band here, band. Minimum 3 bands I have to put. And I have to work my way from OG junction upwards. Okay, the most important thing is start the banding right at the OG junction and come out, come out. Okay. Stop now. 1 second. Which we have the apparatus ready. So we need 3 things. One is a release handle. This is the release handle. It will go in the biopsy channel. Okay. So you take the scope, take the biopsy, this one out. There you put the release handle. Okay. Next is you have a pull catheter. Each company makes a different types, but this is the what we call a pull catheter. And we have a barrel with the bands. This is like a barrel, small barrel, which will stick to the tip of the endoscopy. I'll tell you how to attach. And it has 6 rubber bands already in an expanded position. Once I pull the little thread, all the bands one after the other will be released and will go and catch the varices by way of suction. So for a successful banding, you need to have a good suction apparatus. So what I do, I ask my assistant to hold on this pull catheter as what we call a small hook. I don't know whether you can zoom in. It has a small hook in the right at the tip, the black tip. You magnify it to the maximum, you may be able to appreciate, but otherwise you can be able to see it there. So I'll pass it through a small hole in the release handle. Small hole is there. It will go. It is like putting a biopsy forceps through the biopsy channel. It will go through the whole biopsy channel and it will come out through the endoscopy end. So my assistant's job is to thread thread there. And this is called railroad technique. You just put a catheter, you feed the barrel on the thread and you just backload it like this or railroad it like this. Okay. So it's like go and load it and come back again. Okay. So you are loading and then coming back. As I pull the thread like this and slowly you just take off the push catheter. Now what you have to do is you have to start doing one more step, that is come closer. What she is trying to do is docking. Docking is just settling the tip of the thread. You put it in a small groove in the release handle there, and she will just twist the release handle clockwise direction and just keep rotating it several times. And as you can see, it gets shorter and shorter. The barrel will come closer, 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 closer to the tip of the endoscope. And at one point, she'll take it and I'll handle this handle and she'll attach it. Okay? And you now start seeing the endoscopy view. As you can see, the thread is there. You make sure the thread is coming at 6 o'clock position. Okay? Ideally, it should be from the 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Anywhere is okay. It should not be there. The chance of that thread catching the varices is high if it is in the higher. You put it in the 12 o'clock position, twist it. Because in the beginning, it will be like this. Then you will make life difficult for yourself. So you have to train your staff so that that thread is always in the bottom, in the floor of the. And now immediate thing what you notice in the screen is our view is limited to only 1/3 of what we had before. Because of all these bands, now you are able to see what we call only a tunnel vision. So unless I have done a good diagnostic endoscopy, it's very difficult for me to know now if I go now, where is the varices. So I have my mental picture of where the problem is. Now I'll go with all that picture, but as I release one varices, 2 bands, 3 bands, the view will get better and better, and I'll be able to see not only through the scope, but also through the barrel. So that is called a clear view. So that this is actually a transparent barrel, but the transparency only after releasing the band. So sometime what will happen, if I know this patient only needs 2 bands, 3 bands, I release upfront 2-3 bands, waste it, so that I have a better view. But now I know this patient may require more than 3 or 4. I am having all the 6 available. And the additional one thing we do, this is not described in the textbook, but we always do is just secure that barrel with an additional strap, because we have at least one case where the barrel came off itself and acted as a foreign body. I had to go back again retrieve it, because once all the bands are released, it is free to come out. So it can happen in a patient, uncooperative patient. So it is additional security, but as I said, this barrel and the diameter should have a right fit. You should make sure it has a good fit. So you have to tell the scope, Olympus scope, I am using this particular company's barrel, and it's whether the compliance, they are complying with each other. You should check with that. Next is the lubrication. You lubricate this because it is a endoscopy diameter is now big. Initially it was 9.2. Now with the barrel is now bigger. The patient has to swallow a big capsule. I have to tell the patient. Next is lubricate it. The next, ensure there is a suction. You look at that screen now. I am putting my hand, and as I put my hand, maintain the suction. You can see a ballooning of my glove. See? Ballooning of my glove. That is a continuous suction. So when I do banding, very important thing is apply the suction continuously. So the whole varices is sucked, literally engaged inside. Then I turn, not this wheel. By accident what happened, people will keep on turning, nothing will happen. You have to turn this red wheel, that's why it is given red color. You turn it clockwise, then band will be released. How do I know it is released? A sense of giving way. You will feel sudden release. Then again, so you go in, and the post-cricoid region, just that is the most difficult area. If you go, then it will be easy. Now you see, so the assistant makes a lot of it important. How they hold, how they are helping us to negotiate. Once you go, you relax. Make sure the patient is retching, not retching. If the patient is retching, they will break the band. So I have to just ensure, I will take a little extra time, ensure the patient is not retching. And you can see the view is restricted. Okay? And just to go a little further, the level of market. Don't enter the stomach. If you enter the stomach, there is a lot of fluid will come. Huh? So I am in the esophagus, right at the OG junction, and that is the varices. See, that is the varices sucked in. What you are seeing now is a typical red out. Now you can see that varices banding. Banding, can you see there? The band is there. Now it's like a size of a grape. Okay. Then another band I can apply it somewhere here. Okay. You suck. And then release, another varices release. Another. So what we do is we don't apply the bands all at the same level. It's like a spiral patient, 1 centimeter above, 1 centimeter above, one here, 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 like that. So I've applied 3 bands so far. You can see they all causing a partial filling of the lumen, as you can see. There is one more varices there. You allow it to come into the lumen of the barrel. Then you just turn it. Then the band is released, and you can see the band is already released. 4th band is released. Then 5th band and released. Okay. See all the bands released. 6th band is released. See, after all the bands released, you can see there is a free wheel. There's everything in it. So we have put all the bands now. Now we are able to see the view also better. There are maybe some more varices, but don't worry about the proximal region. But if there are bands available, you can go everything, but there is no need. Okay? Just to come back, not inducing any more trauma, any more retching. You come, allow the patient to settle for 2 hours. Don't give anything for orally 2 hours. For next 24 hours, liquid diet only. Okay? What is the greatest advantage of banding is the procedure-related bleeding is less. See, before banding era, what we used to do is injection sclerotherapy. Like endoscopy, we do inside the varices or parallel to the varices, intravaricial, paravaricial. We used to give sclerosant. But we take the needle out, there may be invariably some bleeding. But here the bleeding is very less. Not only procedure-related, immediate post-procedure also, the chance of bleeding is less. But some people will give some medication to minimize the post-endoscopy bleeding episodes. The drugs normally used are octreotide. And another expensive drug is of course terlipressin. These are the 2 normally subscribed drugs for preventing post-op. But what we do normally in our setup is we give them all beta blocker. Okay, non-selective beta blocker, that is propranolol, usually starting from the beginning dose of 10 milligram twice daily, and slowly you increase the dose. Most of these people will tolerate dose up to 20 milligram 3 times a day. So you bring down the cardiac output or heart rate by 25%. So the total pressure is reduced. So that is the best orally available drug to reduce the total pressure. It's a very simple, effective drug.